Hello, Dr. Karen Can here. Welcome to another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. And this week's topic, well, seems to be a lot of topics, but I had to call it something. So this week's topic is called Clairsentience tuning, and I'll tell you about that in just a little bit. And if you're new to my channel, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell if there is one, so you'll know every time I do a new video. And yeah, I'd love for you to comment as well after you hear what I have to say. So let's get to our topic. Let's just say that this week has been active. Yes, relatively active. So before I get to the Clairsentience tuning, I want to tell you something that happened. So on Monday, March 20th, around 4 o'clock, 4 p.m. Eastern, I was working, planning, doing some podcasting, things like that, recording. And I got a sudden wave of fatigue. Now, if you know me, I'm not really one to get fatigued that often. I mean, I did before when I had chronic fatigue syndrome, of course, and fibromyalgia, and healed all that. But it's pretty rare for me to get the symptom of fatigue. Now, I'm going to be honest, I kind of was like, yeah, whatever, I'm busy. You know what I mean? Okay, so I'm a little fatigued, just keep going. So I went and kept going for another hour or so, and then it seemed to get worse. And then a headache started, and I was like, okay, I better stop what I'm doing and actually pay attention and maybe do some self-healing, right? Is what I tell everybody else to do. So as I'm doing the self-healing, I realized, oh, it's not my stuff. And this is really common among sensitive souls. Now, in this case, I muscle tested that I was supposed to have the symptom so I could be alerted to something. Now, I'll get back to why the symptom of fatigue in a moment. So, what I had figured out, for what it's worth, and it could be completely wrong. I was fatigued, by the way, at the time when I was testing, was that there was some sort of scalar energy that a lot of humans, the grand majority actually, were affected on that day. Now, scalar energies are not good or bad. They're just a form of coherent energies. However, just like if an opera singer were to sing a perfect pitch and it resonates with a glass, the glass will start to sing as well. It'll start to vibrate and sing at that perfect pitch. It has to be perfectly coherent sound waves in order for that glass to vibrate. And then if the sound waves are too intense, what happens to the glass? Right, it breaks. So this particular scalar energy was not just a singular frequency, if you will, but a combination of 18. But it seemed to have started like with one, and then it added on, almost like it was weaving together. And what was happening, which was causing the fatigue, was that my etheric body, kind of like the energy blueprint of my physical body, my etheric body was rising out of my physical body and not grounded in place where it should be when I'm awake and, doing what I'm doing. It's one thing for the etheric body to go astral traveling when I'm asleep at night, and a whole other thing to, be functional while awake. So I had this happen in the summer, and it was profound fatigue. And I needed to understand that when the etheric body is not locked into the physical body, that is a symptom of that phenomena. So I was able to determine, okay, so my etheric body is not fully in my physical body. So I was attempting to ground it back in. It wasn't as easy as usual. Usually it's like, boom, seconds, right? So there was something I needed to know, and long story short, we had to neutralize those particular scalar energies, not just for myself, but for the whole world, kind of do a reset and reboot. And then at that point, then the energetic body could come back into the physical body. Now, I had to sleep it off. Okay, to be perfectly honest, I had to sleep it off. So although the headache, the fatigue was much better, it didn't bounce back as quickly as I usually would. Now, remember, I'm feeling other people's stuff, right? And if it's not for the highest grade, it's good. I don't have to feel it, but in this case, it was for the highest grade, it's good. And the next morning, pretty much back to normal. So my friend Kathy Homeyer tells me, oh, what time was that? And I was like, well, it's around 4 p.m. Eastern when that happened. She goes, wow, that's very interesting because that's right before the life vitality release, according to Perlandria. And she actually posted a chart on Facebook, and she's often tuning me into details that I really need to know. So I pay attention when she posts stuff. And so the life vitality release is seemingly a good thing, and that's very interesting that around the same time there was this so-called negative energy that was affecting all of humanity, almost as if it was timed to that positive release. Interesting. The conspiracy theories can have a lot of, fodder for their stories. Now, I thought, well, after all that's done and over with, right? Well, not so much. So Wednesday, I'm on a call with one of my coaches, and I start feeling like I'm going to fall asleep. And it wasn't because he was boring. It wasn't that at all. He was not boring. I was like, oh boy, here we go again. So at this point, I just said, whoop, I gotta go. I gotta go meditate. And so I laid down on my Ascension 3 infused yoga mat, my energy-infused yoga mat. And I thought, well, that's going to really help support me as I do this healing. And again, I was feeling somebody else's stuff, in this case, all of humanity. So I'm thinking, okay, what's going on now with all of humanity? Why is my etheric body out of my physical body again? And shockingly, it was a hidden scalar frequency. Some people will call it an attack of some sort. And this time I only counted 13. It's almost like it felt like the first set of people that were doing the thing on Monday, they weren't terribly successful. So they called their friends up and say, hey, our equipment's not working anymore. Can you guys try it? So the friends are like, oh, okay, yeah, our turn, we're up, right? So they do it. And again, we do the same thing as, neutralizing it, balancing it, and doing a reboot on all of humanity as much as I can, little old me, for all these people. And in that case, the bounce back was fairly quick because I stopped fairly soon after I found out about it instead of going on for another hour and a half before doing the healing. And so by the time 4 p.m. ran around, now that particular time on Wednesday was about 2:39 p.m. when it started. And then by 4 p.m., after I'd laid down, for a while, and got up at 4 p.m., I felt more or less back to myself, which was really nice. And then that seems to be the end of that. Now, what I did differently this time was asking the question, okay, so since humanity doesn't have a high enough consciousness vibration to prevent this reality from happening, why can't we, manage or prevent these sort of scalar attacks from happening to the world? And I think there is a solution to that, and that may mean, having some sort of energetic or spiritual grid around the earth. I mean, there's lots of great grids around the earth, don't get me wrong, but the specific one to neutralize these sorts of scalar energies. So it's work in progress. Maybe it's completely done, maybe not. I'm not really sure. We're just going to have to see, right, over time. So after neutralizing the scalar energies, then the etheric body is like, okay, I can go back in the physical body, right? And then the fatigue lifts. So that's one of the Tobacane healing activations we're going to do today, is to get that etheric body back into your physical body, especially if you are awake. Obviously, you're awake if you're listening to this, and it's not completely in. Yes. So if you do divine muscle testing, you can actually test that while awake, what percentage of my etheric body is fully locked into and grounded into my physical body. The ideal, of course, is 100%. Most people are not 100% anyway, but lately, for profound fatigue, it could be really low. It could be 10, 20, 30%. So it's good to check yourself if you have been going through some fatigue episodes, or even if you have chronic fatigue, it's worth your while to check. because if this is one of the reasons you're fatigued, then at least you know that's a solvable thing. Now, the other part of our Topican healing activation has to do with this clairsentience tuning, the main topic of our video today. So as we ascend, expand our frequency and evolve spiritually, our spiritual gifts also evolve and expand as well. The clairs expand. The clairs include clairsentience, the ability to feel, clairvoyance, the ability to see, clairaudience, to hear, clairgustance, which is to taste, clair-knowing or claircognizance, which is just to know. Everyone wants that one on lock, right? Because there's no symptoms related to that one as far as I can tell. And then clairessence, which is the ability to smell things that you may not normally be able to smell, but smell interdimensionally and things like that. So clairsentience happens to be the dominant clair for most sensitive souls, about 80%, at least in my experience, that is their dominant clair. And sensitive souls who have quite a degree of clairsentience will feel things in their body, including fatigue and pain and emotions and all sorts of other things that may or may not be theirs. Yes. So what about tuning? Well, in the past, what we do in Topican healing is we would check how balanced are the clairs. You know, how balanced is clairsentience? How balanced is clairaudience? How balanced is clairvoyance, etc., etc.? And then how balanced are they relative to each other? This time around, there was more than balance that was required because of our current stage of our spiritual evolution. We are able, with our clairs, especially clairsentience, we are able to now sense things in the body that have happened in the past and that have happened in the future. Well, or that will happen in the future. So thanks to one of my VIP clients, we found out that she was actually feeling the scalar attack from Monday about 10 to 13 days prior to the attack. And I, 10 days prior, I really couldn't see what it was that, was causing it because it hadn't happened yet, right? So note to self, just double check the future if you're allowed, right? So in this case, if your clairsentience is tuning in to past or future, that may not be necessary for you to do that. Now, it's one thing to maybe have a clair-knowing or maybe even clairsentience moments before something maybe dangerous or bad is going to happen, or maybe you're walking down the street in a big city you don't know and you thought, well, I got to turn down this alleyway, and your body goes, right? And you go, okay, so I'm going to go somewhere else. Now that's helpful, but is it really helpful necessarily to have the negative feelings in the body of what's going to happen 10 days prior and then suffer that for the whole 10 days? Probably not, right? So clairsentience tuning includes one of four things, at least as of this recording. One of four things you can tune related to time is, we'll call it time tuning, or clairsentience tuning of time. So meaning that we are tuning or fine-tuning your clairsentience so that you're only paying attention in the body what's relevant to you at a certain package of time. So that you're not feeling stuff for 5 days ago that you don't need to feel, and you're not feeling stuff over here 10 or 15 or 20 days ahead of time. It's not necessary. If it is necessary, the Topican Healing Directive isn't going to work for you for that time or that period, but for the rest of the time where it does work for you, then at least you can tune the clairsentience to be more specific to it could be already balanced, but to be more specific for the time, because we do deal in time in this reality, that is for your highest and greatest good. Now, there are three other tunings that I am aware of. One is called yin-yang tuning, or we're calling it yin-yang tuning. Best way to describe it is that there's parts of the body that are yin or more yin, and there's parts of the body that are more yang. So this is coming from traditional Chinese medicine. yin the feminine, yang the masculine, and I won't go through all, which sides of the body, all that kind of stuff, and up and down. There's lots of different descriptions. Just so you know that if you happen to have more sensations in one side of the body than the other, whether it be front versus back, left versus right, you could have a clairsentience issue with tuning the yin yang incorrectly or not balanced. So that's the other healing we're going to do today, is to tune the yin yang so that it is in a more balanced way. The third is called dimensional tuning. Dimensional tuning for the clairsentience is when you are feeling into other dimensions. Certain other dimensions it is for your highest and greatest good to feel into for whatever information you need to get. However, paying attention, or your body feeling what's going on in other dimensions and other beings connecting to you in other dimensions may or may not be for your highest and greatest good. It may not be necessary for you to deal with all the. We already have one life, right? Can you imagine trying to deal with 27 other lives simultaneously? Yeah, a little challenging. So the clairsentience dimensional tuning basically helps your clairsentience just tune into the dimension that is relevant for us and is for our highest and greatest good, which is connection to our mission and our soul experience template, etc., etc. Last but not least, the other tuning, which was a little strange, and I'm not sure I wrapped my head around it completely, is inner chi movement. Okay, so so inside the body, chi, the flow of energy, okay, and the movement of that energy. So if your clairsentience is tuned correctly, then you're not going to have what sensitive souls would get is excessive sensations or sensing of even normal chi and energy movement in the body. Because what can happen is if you're not over analyzing, but if you're over feeling the chi and energy movement in the body, the emotions start to kick in and go, that's bad, and then the emotions then kick in the energy and then kick in the symptoms. And so it can start this whole rigmarole of things that are totally unnecessary. So I know I'm simplifying it, but this is the best way I can explain my current understanding of this tuning aspect of the clairsentience. So if you are ready to receive or wish to receive today's activation, we are going to put the etheric body back in after we have managed the clairs. We'll go ahead and balance the clairs as well, in case you don't already know that particular directive and healing protocol. And then we're going to do our clair tuning. Now, it is a little bit lengthy because not only are we going to do the tuning of clairsentience, but we're going to do all the clairs. So I'll be as expedient as I can in my languaging. Just so you know, we are going to tune all the clairs that way. And I'm not necessarily going to say all of them for every single directive, just as long as you know which we're doing. So the clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, so on and so forth, right? Okay, so if you'd like to receive, you can go ahead and get into the 0-point field with me. If you're beginning, you can go ahead and rub your hands really, 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 really fast, get some heat and energy going, and the chi and energy flowing, and then you can relax. Close your eyes if it's safe for you to do so, and start focusing on the inside of your body below the level of your skin. Feel any movement there, waves, energy, tingles, whatever it is, and then follow the flow of that movement. So just go ahead and do that for a breath or two. Follow wherever it goes. There's no right or wrong, no judgment necessary. And if you don't want to rub your hands, you can just, if I'm standing right now, so you can like bounce up and down and then just feel the energy in the body. So that paying attention to the energy of body gets you into the 0-point field, into the quantum realm, where we can do a lot of healing work very quickly. I'm going to say some Topican healing directives. You just make the intention to receive if you like to receive. And of course, afterwards, I'd love for you to post in the comments what you felt in your body afterwards. Okay, here we go. I now command that all your clairs, including clairsentience, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairgustance, clairessence, clairknowing, and all the other clairs we don't know about yet, be completely tuned appropriately to time, tuned dimensionally, yin-yang tuned, and inner chi movement tuned to what is appropriate and optimal for you at every second of the day, 24/7. Sound command of this healing be downloaded and activated in you with ease, speed, and grace in the highest and best way in all timelines where you exist, where relevant and allowed. Ease, speed, and grace. Thank you. Okay, so just feel into that. Just imagine all the clairs just narrowing their focus to what's necessary and for your highest and greatest good every moment of the day and night. Now, let's go ahead and put the etheric body back into the physical body. I now command that the etheric body be grounded fully in the physical body while awake, the highest and best way. Anything preventing this be immediately healed with ease, speed, and grace. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, some people may feel a little heavier after this, or in a few minutes you may feel a little bit more bright or, woken up. It's all good. Whatever you feel, I'd love for you to comment down below any ahas that you've had today, what you felt after the healing activations, and also if you happen to have in your body felt those scalar energies on Monday and Wednesday of this past week. Super curious to see what you felt. And let's do a few announcements for this week. So on Light Warrior Radio on the 27th of March, we are airing a really cool episode that I did with Anthony Samaroff, Big Pharma Myths. And, he's a psychologist and he's been doing some research over the years around, what is really true in our beliefs when it comes to pharmaceuticals and what are actual myths. There's actually a free ebook that you can get from him, and it's at 7pharmamyths.com with the word 7, with the number 7 rather. Pharma, Pharma, myths.com, all one word, and you can check that out. There is a book coming out in the near future as well, but you can get this free download as kind of a preview to that. So we had kind of a lively conversation. Love for you to tune in Monday to listen to that podcast on Light Warrior Radio. And a couple of announcements and reminders. Number one is that the Light Warrior Training Camp in May, June, that the super early bird pricing is ending next Friday, which is the 31st, and that's 78% off. So we only have a small number of spots left for that. And when they get filled, they get filled. So if you are wishing to train with me live and in person, doing the Lake Sacred Vortex meditation, to view a preview of the movie The Inside Effects together. I'll be watching it for the first time with you, to do a little maybe drum and dance, and of course to do the amazing trainings that are in our book and doing it live and with feedback and healing from me. Yes, definitely book in for the Light Warrior Training Camp. In the past, we've only done it once a year, so this is your chance to do some live training and healing with me in person. I would love, love, love to be able to see you in person, and that's in the Lake Claire Lodge, May 28th to Friday, June 2nd. Would love to see you there. So I'll put the links near this video where you can get that super early bird pricing. And the other announcement is just to make sure you've marked on your calendar for Monday, April 3rd, 4 p.m. Eastern, because I will be launching on the UWealth Telesummit. This is going to be one of the last times that I do a Telesummit launch in a while. We have a lot of things to work on in the business at the Academy, a lot of behind the scenes things going on. So I need to limit some of my time, and this is a chance to get a package from me called the Anxiety SOS. So that's a brand new package, and it's all around helping sensitive souls heal the symptom of anxiety through clearing, connecting, downloading, balancing all the underlying things that may be causing or contributing to those symptoms. So not just, covering the symptom with, medication, not just doing a breathing exercise here or there, for the symptom relief, but really looking at the energetics underneath it. And of course, some practical things as well, because after all, I am a medical doctor, so I can put that hat on as well. So we have 4 comprehensive modules for you. And if you'd like to know more about that, I'd love for you to come to the live interview on the 3rd. We're going to talk about anxiety solutions for sensitive souls and talk about some things that hardly anyone is talking about around the world. And I really think you need to know this information, because if you don't have anxiety, awesome. But there may be someone who is a sensitive soul that you love that does. And the rate of anxiety has unfortunately been increasing, especially over the last few years. So this is a big deal. And there's more and more people that are struggling and more people that are reaching for pharmaceuticals, whereas they could potentially be much, much better using some of these other methods. So remember that date, so Monday, April 3rd, and really, really excited to see you at the Light Warrior Training Camp. So definitely check the links below, and we will talk to you next week, and maybe we'll have a calmer week. Thank you for joining me for the Spiritual Medicine Digest, and remember to subscribe and comment below any ahas that you've had. Love reading your comments, and we'll see you next week. Lots of love. Bye for now.